All right, so I wanted to come back and show y'all. All right, I drained the batteries down to 49%. So 50%, let's just round it out, 50%. And that's because the TV was on last night, all night. I cut that off this morning. So this test right here shows me that if I leave the TV on at night, which usually I don't leave the TV on when I sleep, but I did last night, so now it's down to 49%, the battery. So imagine if I have a 3-bedroom house, so imagine if I had all 3 TVs on, probably would be probably 30 to 29, maybe 20% on the batteries, which is telling me that I need more battery storage capacity, which means, I might need a 20 kilowatt battery, which when I do purchase the 20 kilowatt battery, I'll show y'all how long that battery or what percentage that battery would be at if I did leave on all TVs. Now, I own my own power. That don't mean I just leave TVs on. Last night I fell asleep and it just was on. Normally I'll cut it off when I go to sleep, which that's the way it's supposed to be, but I know, sometimes we leave the TVs on and fall asleep or whatever. Some people leave their TV on all day, which being on solar taught me to cut off the lights if I'm not in that room, cut off the TV if I'm not in that room. So that's what I want to show y'all until the next video. All right, so I'm back, batteries at 48%. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the house off of the MPP solar inverter and I'm gonna switch it over into the Power Jack 5000 low frequency inverter. This also have an 80 amp battery charger, everything. It's same as this one. It's the same as the MPP solar, but this is the Chinese, well, they both Chinese versions. But this one is a Power Jack, which is a good inverter. A lot of people didn't like Power Jack, but I've been having this for years. Years. And it's been a great inverter to me. And now I want to take the system, I want to take my house off grid and switch it over to, I want to take it off of the MPP solar inverter and take it over to the Power Jack 6 kilowatt battery. This is Chevy Volt battery that came out of Chevy Volt car. I think it was a 2012. And I want to show y'all how my house will run off a 6K battery. And that's with bringing in the solar. We're sitting at, let's see, 24.7, 83%. The battery's at 83%. And I do have my pump running off of that right now, but it only comes on when, like, say if I flush the toilet or anything, when the water, when I run any type of water, then it'll come on and kick right back off. So I'm gonna hook that up to the MPP solar, and then I'm gonna hook my house up. Well, matter of fact, I'm gonna do it now. Let me do it now. So we're gonna, this right here, take it apart. It's kind of hard pulling. So everything's gonna click off because I'm unplugging my house. So unplug, light click off, and we're gonna cut this one off. We're gonna take this, which is the pump, and we're gonna take this one, which is the house, and we're gonna hook it up. Okay. So, okay, so now everything's back on in the house. Let me cut the light back on. All right, light back on. And now I'm officially using what's fluctuating right now, 68 watts right now, off grid on the 6K Chevy Volt batteries. Those 6 batteries right there is 1 kilowatt a piece, and we're off grid. And I want to run a test. And like I said, I hooked it up at 83%. We're 83%. Yes, we're bringing in watts. It probably a charge up to 100% today. And I'm gonna show y'all how the system runs off a 6K battery. Because you remember I did the test on the 10K battery. Now I'm doing the test on the 24 volt 6K battery. Because a lot of people, you might not want to go 48 volt. 24 volt is great as well. Like, 48 volt is more efficient. with 24 volt, there's nothing wrong with a 24 volt system. You know, I've been running off a 24 volt system for the longest. I jumped from a 12 to a 24 volt. So I like them both, you know. Nothing's wrong with a 24 volt. I just wanted to get my house, I just wanted to have my house more efficient per se, like, you know, because I had AC units. I wanted to run the heater off of my AC unit in the winter and the AC in the summertime. So I jumped over to a 48 volt system. So right now, as you can see, bringing in 153 watts. It is like, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Today is October the 6th, 2020. And that's what we're bringing in now. And it's like I say, it's 9 o'clock going on 10 o'clock, and the sun is not at its highest right now. At 12 o'clock, the sun will be at its highest, and we'll be bringing in way more watts than 160 watts. And back to the house, and right now my house only using, it's around 60 watts. And that's with the refrigerator on. I have a light on, lights under my kitchen cabinets, and I have a lamp on, stuff like that. You know, normal stuff that stays on in a house. And like I said, I don't keep lights on. Only when I'm in that area, in that room, then I'll have the lights on. But no point in me having on lights if I'm not in the room. I have a 3-bedroom house. And like I say, everything that you have in yours that's on the utility grid, I also have in mine that's on my off-grid system. So no holding back at all. You know, this is right. This is going to be part 2. We'll do the real truth about living off grid. I'll do the real truth about living off grid. Living off grid with the right size system, it's just like if you was living on a utility grid. It's no different. I don't have to do certain things. Everything that I do normal. I live a normal life. I see a lot of people talking about what you can and can't do with an off-grid system, but you can if you size the system right. So like I say, if you check out my previous videos about the 10 kilowatt battery test that I ran, this is the test that I'm running off of the 24 volt 6 kilowatt battery. I just want to show y'all, rather you pick a 24 volt system or a 48 volt system, it really doesn't matter. It's you know, of course a 24 volt system is a little cheaper than 48 volt, but you know, they both are great systems. Like I say, when I looked up videos and stuff like that, I heard people saying that 48 volt is more efficient, which it is. It is more efficient. That's the reason why I went with it, because I wanted to run AC units and stuff like that. So I jumped over to a 48 volt, and that's why I still have this 24 volt system, because I jumped over to 48 volt. And I had just purchased this MPP solar inverter. It's a 5 kilowatt inverter. So this is new. And this right here, this system was when I did jump over to 48 volt. This was the system that I had. That's why I have 3 systems, because this was my first system when I was on 24 volt, because I did go from 12 to 24 volt. And then I had bought the 48 volt system. And then, you know, this runs off this power jack right here. And after I bought this one, I did reviews on the MPP solar. Well, I was looking at reviews on the MPP solar, and it made me want to buy one of these. So I purchased one of these MPP solar inverters right here. And then I had bought these batteries from a guy in Texas off of eBay, because I wanted to buy some brand new batteries and run it off of with the MPP solar to see how well it would perform. Okay, I'm back. But like I was saying, make sure y'all like and subscribe to my channel so y'all can see these tests that I run on these 24 volt system that I'm starting. This is part 1, the real truth about living off grid. Since I've been living off grid for 7 years, a lot of people that say that tell us that they're off grid kind of be on grid in a sense, like using the utility grid as an alternate source of power to charge the batteries. But see, me, I'm truly off grid. No utility grid at all. Everything that I do is strictly off grid. I am my own power source, and I want to show y'all that I really live off grid. It's not any type, like if something happened with the system, I have to fix everything. I can't, I mean, other than my generator, I do have a generator that can, you know, charge up all the batteries and stuff like that, which I believe every off-grid person has a generator. And if you don't, you should always keep a generator, which you typically would only use if something happened to the system. Let's say you want to maintenance the system and stuff like that. Then you will want to run everything off the generator until, you know, you fix everything on the off-grid solar systems. So that's what I do. I have a home backup generator, a Generac. So, you know, I do have alternate power, but it's not the utility grid. Like that's a propane generator, and I also have a gas generator. I mean, so that's what I use in case I have to maintenance my system and stuff like that, or if anything happens, I do have an off-grid, a generator. So this right here is part 1 test, and I'll see y'all in the next video. I'll run let's say I'll run the TVs at night, because I want to show y'all what I can use at night and what I can't use at night. And I want to show y'all, if let's say you just say I bought a 6 kilowatt battery. Well, I'm about to show you at 24 volts at a 6 kilowatt battery what it would do and what it can and can't do. I'm gonna show you what it can and can't do. You know, so if it cut off on me, yes, I do have other power source that I can just hook up to. But that's why I want to show y'all that you need to size your batteries. You gotta have the right amount of battery capacity if you want to run at night and stuff like that. You know, of course, if you want to run an AC unit, I'll do overkill. I'll tell anybody that. If you want to run an AC unit, overkill the system. Do overkill. That means go get a 40 kilowatt battery. You know, something like that. That way it can hold that big old surge. You know, even though an AC unit, you're running for 5 hours, it probably will kick off. And, you know, once the house is cooled down, or if the heater, you know, once it reaches temperature is what I'm trying to say. Once the AC unit or the heater reach temperature, the AC unit will cut off. It'll cut off. So, you know, let's just say if you ran it for 5 hours straight, which it shouldn't run for 5 hours. It should cut off in between, off and on. Because, you know, it's probably using about 3,000 watts, I'm pretty sure. You know, even an electric oven or stove would use about that much, you know, 2,000, 3,000 watts. So before you do it, I want to say this, before you go and try to switch over to to solar off grid, make sure you switch over your appliances. Buy energy efficient appliances. You know, I wouldn't use a stove off grid, me personally. Electric stove I wouldn't, you know, but you can. But, you know, you're going to be putting those, I mean, you can use the batteries, abuse the batteries if you want, but you're putting that big load every day, because I'm sure if you have a stove, you're cooking almost every day. I don't really cook every day because, you know, I work my job, I be there all the time, and they supply food for me, so I don't have to cook every day. But I do have a gas stove, you know, an oven. So this is test number 1, the real truth about living off grid. And I'll see y'all in my next video.